Hello and welcome. I'm Sharice Williams. For those of you that do not know me, you can find me on Instagram, sharisewilliams.xo, my website, sharisewilliams.com. I'm the host of the Goddess Life podcast, as well as my channel on YouTube. And I'm the author of the Goddess Life book as well, and also the Sacred Journal and Workbook, which you can find both of those on Amazon. I'm also a card reader. You can book readings through my website or through Instagram. You can click on the link in my bio. Anyway, so speaking of Instagram, I got a message there today from a woman. I'm not going to share her name just because I don't know if she wants her information shared. But she was asking if I could help her because she says her house is full of spirits. Her son is scared. She feels like it's affecting her marriage even. She feels like that there's a bunch of spirits, including one bad one, as she called it. And she was asking, she said a neighbor of hers told her to reach out to me. And this isn't the first time I've received a message like this, surprisingly. And I say surprisingly because I do talk about ghosts a lot and like spooky things. But I don't feel like that's like a topic that I talk a lot about as far as like protecting your home or cleansing your home. I guess maybe it kind of is. Anyway, I figured I might as well go ahead and just cover the topic on the podcast and the YouTube channel. And then that way I can share it with whoever, and maybe you guys listening or watching need this information as well. So I just kind of want to cover some ways that you can cleanse your home, some ways you can protect your home, some ways that you can cleanse and protect yourself as well. And these are going to be practical things, like real life things that you can do, as well as more like spiritual or metaphysical type topics. And as always, I feel like I need to do some sort of disclaimer in this day and age. These are just my opinions. There are, I'm sure, other ways to do things. I always encourage you guys, like, don't just take my word for it. Whenever I'm talking about anything, whenever anybody's talking about anything, whether it's me or somebody else, don't take their word as the end all be all. Do your research and ultimately always do what feels good for you. But I think it is important to listen to multiple people on different topics because everybody has their own thoughts and ideas, and everybody brings their own emotion to topics. So yeah, that being said, there are other ways to do things than what I'm going to share with you. You may not completely agree with how I'm doing it or what I'm suggesting. I'm just sharing my own personal thoughts and opinions on what I think can help in this situation, which is cleansing your home and protecting yourself of spirits or unwanted energy. So let's see where to start. So first things first, a lot of this has to do with your mindset and you setting boundaries and you being firm. Because first and foremost, the simplest thing you can do to cleanse your home or to protect your home or even just do like regular maintenance, like I try to do this periodically as just like you would clean your home or vacuum, once a week or a couple times a week or whatever you do. You should get in the habit of energetically or spiritually cleaning your home as well. And this just comes down to being firm. If there was somebody like an intruder in your house, like a human physical intruder in your house, I highly doubt you just be like, well, hey, I kind of don't really want you here. I'm kind of uncomfortable with you being here. No, you'd be firm and you'd be like, hopefully you'd be firm and saying like, get the hell out of my house. You are not welcome here. You'd be defending yourself, and that energy you would be projecting is that dominant, sure of yourself, setting firm boundaries energy. And we need to take that same energy with spirits as well. Just because they don't have a physical body doesn't mean that they can't respond to our energy. So just go around your house and say, if there's any unwanted energy here, you are not welcome. If you are a spirit and you do not have a physical body, you are not welcome in this home. If you are not of love and light, you are not welcome in this home. And you want to be firm with that as well. You want to be firm and strong. Again, you don't want to just be like, if there's anybody, that doesn't have mine and my family's highest good in mind, can you like maybe leave? I don't really want you here. No, you got to be firm and set those energetic boundaries. And more often than not, spirits will adhere to that, because a lot of the time I know it can be scary sometimes when we hear things in our house or we're seeing things or, you know, we're having these paranormal experiences. It can be creepy. I'm a ghost hunter. I've been in all kinds of environments and had all kinds of experiences. But when something kind of weird happens in my own house, I mean, it is a little unnerving because it's like, hey, wait a minute, I live here. I didn't invite you in. Like, what are you doing? I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, you just have to be firm. Oh, so normally spirits, they aren't necessarily aware that they're creeping us out, basically. And so a lot of the time, the ghosts and the spirits that we have in our house, they may just be unsettling, but they're not really trying to hurt us. They're not really trying to harm us. And so when you set those firm boundaries, like, get the hell out, I don't want you here, most of the time they're like, oh, okay. And then they leave. Like, and it depends on what you say too, because like, I've been working a lot more with my ancestors recently, and I feel like it's no surprise that the paranormal activity in my house has increased just a little bit. And it took me a minute to put two and two together, and I was like, oh, I bet you this is some of my ancestors wandering around the house. So I just had to have a talk with them and was like, hey, if you are an ancestor and, you know, you have mine and my family's highest good in mind, you're allowed to stay. I permit you to stay. Angels, spirit guides, and ancestors, you are permitted to stay in my home as long as, you know, you keep it quiet and you don't disturb us when we're sleeping and you don't do anything to inadvertently freak us out, and set those boundaries. And so far it's been good since I've set those boundaries. But if it's spirits and energy that you don't know and you don't want it around, be firm and tell them, you know, if you are not of love and light, if you are not part of this family, if you do not have our highest good in mind, you are not welcome. Get out of my house. Something else that you can do that really helps is to energetically change the room. So you can pair this with you verbally setting those boundaries. Sorry, that's Norman the doggy laying in his beanbag chair next to me, and it's kind of loud, is to energetically change the energy. Okay. To change the energy of your living space. And there are many ways that you can do this. One of the easiest ones is sound. Sound has a vibration. And so when you create a sound, it vibrates through your house and it kind of shifts up that energy. Easiest way, clapping your hands. Go into each room, especially into the corners of the rooms, and say what you're saying, set those boundaries, and clap your hands loudly throughout the room, and do that in each of the rooms of your house. Some people say that it is beneficial to crack a window in your house when you're doing any sort of cleansing like this, to just kind of give the energy or spirits sort of a way to exit your house, to leave. So crack a window. But yeah, you can clap your hands. You can even just take a pan and like a spoon and bang that in each room. If you have a bell, you can ring a little metal bell. You can ring the bell in each of the rooms, just something to create sound. And to touch on that, because I want to talk about children with this as well, because I think it's important that we empower not only ourselves, but our children, especially with the woman who just wrote into me. She specifically mentioned her child. Get them involved. Have them set boundaries too. Have them say these things. You know, you are not welcome here. Have the kids speak out, and they'll feel more powerful as well. You can give them a bell to ring in each room. Have them clap their hands. Kids like to be involved, so don't feel like you have to shield your kid from this. I especially think if you try to shield your kid from any paranormal activity happening in your house, it kind of makes it worse for them, because kids are extremely observant. Even if your kid hasn't had their own personal paranormal experience in the house, they're observant. They know what the adults in their lives are talking about. And so if you don't include them to some extent, that makes them almost feel more like there's something like extra to be afraid of. And it kind of makes them even more fearful than if you just kind of involved them. And obviously use discernment. I mean, if your 2-year-old has no idea what's going on, and they're perfectly fine, you don't necessarily need to sit them down and say, there's a ghost in the house, and freak them out. Now, you could involve your toddler with the clapping of the hands and going to each room, and they'll think it's a great game. So you don't need to scare the crap out of your kids, but obviously, whatever. Use discernment as a parent. I'm not trying to tell you how to parent your children, but don't feel like you have to exclude your kids is the point of this little side story here. So yeah, so go to each room, say what you need to say, make some noise. Also, you can burn some herbs. There is contradictory information about sage, but basically with sage or Palo Santo or really any herbs that you buy, just be aware of where you're purchasing it from. That's a whole other video. But anyway, you can burn herbs, sage, Palo Santo, rosemary is really, really, really good to burn to cleanse your house. Let's see, mugwort is another really good herb to burn. There's a lot more. Basil, I don't know why my brain has fallen short. Garlic also, which that's kind of funny about vampires, but you can hang garlic in different rooms of your house or hang it in the windows of your house, and that helps to keep things away. But we'll get into that in a moment because that's kind of more protective energy, and we're talking about cleansing right now. So yeah, there's a bunch of different herbs you can use. If you are somebody who's sensitive to smoke, because I know some people have some breathing conditions or they just are sensitive to smoke, you can use essential oils as well. You can make essential oil sprays, again, using some of those herbs, like put some rosemary, and maybe even a little bit of garlic powder into a spray bottle with water, and you can go around your house and spritz your house with that while you are verbally setting those boundaries. Those are some good ways to cleanse. Also, selenite is really great to cleanse. I have my son help me with this when we go around and cleanse our house. He holds a stick of selenite as sort of like his magic wand. And on his own, he came up with the idea of envisioning rainbows coming out of it because he said rainbows make him feel happy. And go around to the rooms and kind of you wave the wand, the selenite. Selenite is a very high, uplifting, cleansing energy. And so by doing that, you're just kind of helping to uplift the energy and cleanse the energy in your space. And pairing that with the visualization, that's just adding extra good energy into your house. And that's really a really good way to cleanse your house. There's a lot of other ways, which could be like their own little videos. You can make floor washes with the herbs. Florida water is a really popular cleanser. People like to add Florida water to some to like a bucket of water, and you can mop your floor with that. That helps get rid of stagnant energy. Because that's the thing too. Sometimes it's not necessarily a spirit in our house. I think sometimes we're very quick to assign any sort of yucky energy to a spirit. And that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just our own energetic funk. I mean, whenever we have an argument in our house or whenever we're tense or stressed, that's energy that gets absorbed into our house. And it's important to cleanse that energy out, because if you're not doing regular cleansings of your home, that energy just builds up and builds up and builds up. And then there's even some theories that then that becomes a type of entity. There's so much built up stress or sadness or anger in a home or in an environment that it then kind of like fuses together and then it becomes an entity. So that's something to be aware of too. So, but again, that type of energy can usually be cleansed in the same way as like getting rid of a ghost spirit. It's about being firm, setting those boundaries. So and then if that doesn't work, if setting those firm boundaries does not work, you can always call in a professional, call in a priest or some sort of holy person, a reverend, a minister. I'm sure you can call around. I'm not sure if the Catholic Church will come bless your house if you are not Catholic, but I'm pretty sure you can call some church organization in your area and somebody will come out and bless your home for you. So that's something you can do as well. If you have tried to set your boundaries, you've tried to be clear, you've done the cleansings, you've done all the stuff, and you're still having activity or you're still not feeling like things are okay, call in a person of the church. And even if you're not religious yourself, this works. It works when you bring in like a religious figure. You can also, if you can't find a religious figure or you really are not a religious person and you don't want them into your house, look for a type of healer or a shaman or a medium within your community. Always make sure, like, don't just call anybody and have anybody come into your house, because if the person doesn't know what they're doing, sometimes they can make it worse for you. So definitely do your research and make sure it's somebody that comes with good references. They know their stuff. They have like other past clients, referrals that you can contact to see how it went. Because we don't want to just bring anybody into our house, But so those are some things you can do. But honestly, just being sure of yourself and firmly setting those boundaries, that usually can do it. But again, there are some times where you need to call in somebody else. So just keep that in mind. Another thing that is important is to, and you might want to do this before you try doing the house cleansing, is to make sure you yourself are cleansed and balanced and secure. I have a video on YouTube. It's called Energy Vampires, or How to Repel Energy Vampires. Something like that. You can probably find it. And it talks about my own personal routine ritual that I have of severing energy that is not mine, removing energy that is not mine, that has attached itself to me, as well as how to then strengthen and repair my aura. Because our auras, they're our energy field, and we go through life, and depending if, we get a cold or we get a sickness or we have some unwanted feelings, we just get little rips and tears kind of in our energy field. And so it's important that we strengthen that and repair any of the kind of holes within our energy. You can use that selenite stick. Again, you can just kind of wave that all around you, and that repairs your energy field. But yeah, you can look up that video about specifically the steps I take to remove unwanted energy and then repair and strengthen my energy and ground my energy as well. But there's many different ways. You can do spiritual baths. A simple one is every time you're taking a shower, just envision that the water is this beautiful white, golden, divine light washing down over your body. And as it washes down, it's washing off any gunk or unwanted energy, and it's replacing all of that with that golden, shimmery, bright, divine energy of love. That is really the easiest way to stay on top of your maintenance of making sure that you are energetically strong and energetically strong and cleansed. And you can teach your kids to do that as well. Or if they're smaller and they're taking a bath, and dump the water over their head and tell them, imagine, because kids have really good imaginations, imagine, rainbow light washing over you. And then as the water in the bathtub drains, tell them to envision, dirty, yucky energy water going down the drain. And kids are really receptive to this kind of thing. Excuse me. So yeah, make sure you yourself are strong energetically, mentally, and make sure you are taking care of yourself too. Because remember, like I said, sometimes some of the funk going on in our house, we attribute to spirits, but sometimes it can be our own stuff. So just be aware of your own mental well-being. If you need to go talk to a counselor, go talk to a counselor. I always say if you're even considering the idea of talking to a counselor, you probably should go talk to one. I think anybody and everybody can benefit from therapy. You don't even have to have something crazy major in your life or major trauma to work through in order to benefit from a therapist. So keep that in mind as well. Be aware of what is your mental state right now? What is your emotional state? How is your well-being? And be aware of that. And then if that's all good and you're energetically cleansing yourself and protecting your energy, then you can do the cleansing of your home and all that good stuff. And finally, let's cover just some protection as well. So some easy ways that you can protect your home from future unwanted energies is to take grounding and protecting crystals like smoky quartz and black tourmaline are two of my favorites. And you can also take some little pieces of selenite as well and place them in the four corners of your home. You can even, if you really want to go all out, place, like a piece of black tourmaline and a piece of selenite in the four corners of each room of your home. You could also just choose to place that near the entrances of your home. Like I mentioned, you could hang garlic or even rosemary in the windows of your home as well. That helps to repel energy, as well as little mirrors. So you can hang little window charms. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about, like little window charms that you can hang in your window of little pieces of glass or mirror. Because what that does essentially is any energy that's trying to make its way into your house, it kind of gets distracted and disoriented from the reflection of the glass or the mirror in the window, And so it kind of repels any energy that is trying to make its way into your home. Another way is to take that Florida water that I mentioned, and you can do, a lot of people like to do the sign of the cross. Again, even if you're not a religious person, that symbol has a lot of power behind it and has a lot of protective power behind it. So you don't have to be a Christian in order to draw a cross on your doors with, holy water or Florida water. Or maybe, I don't know, whatever symbol is protective to you. Maybe you want to draw a heart over your doors. You can do that as well to continue protection in your home. And I think that's it really. Oh, you can make, it's called, I might butcher this word, cascarilla. But basically it's crushed up eggshells. You can get those, and I like to mix herbs with mine, like protective herbs. So I'll crush the eggshells and I'll mix usually like some basil and rosemary into mine. And you kind of want to say a little blessing over it. You can just put your hand over the container and bless it with protective, loving energy. And then you can sprinkle that powder along like the doorways of your house or like right outside of your home. You can even put it in the four corners of your property if you want. It's kind of up to you. Do what feels right for you. But yeah, I think that kind of covers it. Covers assessing your own well-being, cleansing your home. And you want to do this too, like I said. I mean, if you vacuum, like anytime you vacuum your house, take that as your time to just say out loud and clap your hands a little bit and remove any unwanted energy. Just every time you shower, take that as a chance to kind of cleanse yourself and strengthen yourself. And don't be afraid to reach out to professionals, whether it's a therapist, a religious figure, a spiritual person, and ask for help if you need it. And yeah, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, you can comment on YouTube. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you can reach out to me on Instagram, ShariceWilliams.xo. Comment here on YouTube. Did I already say that? Anyway, so hopefully these tips help you. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.